नमः समयसाराय स्वानुभूत्या चकासते चित्स्वभावाय भावाय सर्वभावान्तरच्छिदे, which means I bow to the purest soul, absolutely free from the karmic matter, whose attribute is consciousness, that can only be known and revealed by the self to the self, that is all-knowing, which means it knows all the living and non-living substances of the universe at once in their totality. I bow to the Absolute Soul, to the God Soul. Beneath every change, a constant exists. The change indicates the temporary nature of things, whereas the constant illustrates the permanence. Hence, despite change being the only constant in the universe, the only constant never changes, which is the consciousness. Namaskar, friends. I have been thinking a lot about the illusion of time recently. The topic of time may fill one up with mesmerization. I mean, just ponder that the whole planet is working on an illusionary concept by binding it into certain types of units, because it is not possible to live without this illusion. Time is a concept which actually does not exist. Time itself seems to be the biggest philosophy of all time. However, contemplating it through a philosophical perspective fills one with peace. For example, give it a thought that even if we are not aware of the concept of time, or even if we won't bind it into units, something still passes as life flows forward. If you think I am being way too philosophical, let's get to know the definition of time from the Oxford Dictionary. According to the Oxford Dictionary, time is the indefinite, continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. Isn't it mind-boggling how we do not pay heed to the illusion of time? Anyway, let us not deviate from our topic, the science of soul. However, comparing time with our real essence, we will see that time is an illusion, whereas the soul is the subject of realization. Contrary to time, even if we are unaware of who we are, we keep existing. Our teacher says, the soul cannot be portrayed through any symbol, unit, gender, or name. It can only be known through its qualities of knowing and perceiving. For example, wherever we feel heat, we know its source is somewhere around. Whenever we see knowledge being gained and perception being enhanced, we know that their source is the consciousness. Let us clarify it further through another observation from our surroundings. We can easily know that we are living beings, manifestations of the consciousness, as we know and perceive at all times. However, we must be aware that every living being, be it a dog, a bird, a hen, or a goat, is also the manifestation of the soul, and even they know and perceive at all times. This way we notice that we are surrounded by many different manifestations of consciousness. And this observation brings peace and motivates us to respect all life forms. Eventually, it sows the seed of ahimsa. Perhaps this is why in all Indian philosophies, the importance of ahimsa has been emphasized. We studied earlier in this episode how time is a delusion and the soul is not. However, the consciousness stays in a deluded state until it realizes its essence. Our teacher throws light upon how one can travel from being a deluded one to a non deluded one. As he says further, I think, I communicate, I do, I am this is mine. Even the notion something was mine in the past or will be mine in the future belongs to the egoic self and hence serves practical purposes only. Someone pursuing the spiritual path tries to grasp the fundamental nature of the soul, which is beyond all these false notions of the self. Let's try to understand this teaching through further contemplation. We all notice that, be it thinking, communicating, or the feeling of security through our possessions, all these definitely fulfill a certain purpose and help us in living lives smoothly. However, as we all will admit that all these are temporary, as we are trying to proceed on the spiritual path now, we must treat them as such only. And at the same time, we should focus on the permanence that never leaves us during these temporary changes. From this episode onwards, we will meditate after the key takeaways from that particular day's lesson. So, 5 key takeaways from today's episode are: 1. Spiritual knowledge cannot be spoon-fed to anyone. Our teacher knows this, and hence he does not pamper us by simplifying it much. Instead, he expects that we use our powers of logic and realization to know the soul on our own. This way, we will earn the knowledge of the self through our hard work and life experiences, and hence we will surely cherish it. Second learning from today's session is: time is an illusion, but consciousness is a subject matter of realization. 3. Beyond all the physicality, limitations, and boundaries lies the sovereign and divine kingdom of the soul. Beautifully, it is accessible to each of us at all times. We need to step out of the illusion of time to realize it. 4. Just like we are the manifestations of consciousness, each life form, no matter how insignificant it seems, is also a manifestation of consciousness. 5. Each life form is individual and on its own journey of evolution, as each soul is inevitably equipped with the attributes of knowing and perceiving. Let us now proceed with today's meditation. Relax your muscles. Slowly close your eyes and ponder the following. My real essence is beyond the illusion of time. The tensions of the past and worries for the future. It is here and now, in the present moment. My thoughts, possessions, and different relationships belong to my physical self. Gradually, I will learn to deal with them as such. I choose to sustain my peace and divinity by focusing on my real essence, which has all the answers to all the dilemmas of my life. I choose to access that genius within. I choose to bow in front of the deity within. You may open your eyes whenever feel comfortable. With this, I take your leave, friends. Have a blissful week ahead. Namaskar and goodbye.